Today we're going to show you how to rig your outriggers. Brian, what are we rigging today?
Today we're going to be rigging the 18-foot fixed, externally rigged outriggers, but this will also work on your collapsibles as well.
This is how the sections of your pole will come straight out of the box. What you're going to want to do is remove the guides that are already installed.
So once you remove these guides, this pole section will slide down into this pole section and you'll feel it stop. Once that happens, you reinsert that guide and it's going to interlock both poles together, and then you simply put the screws back in to secure it. You want to make sure that these windows line up. And it's as easy as just putting the 2 screws right back in that you just took out. As you can see, Hunter did not over tighten these screws. A simple hand turn with a screwdriver is all you need.
None of our fixed riggers come pre-drilled for your base, so we include this drill template. You're going to snap it on to your base like so. And then it kind of depends on what angle you want to run your halyards. All boats can be different. I recommend about a 45, so I'd rotate it to right about there, and then I drill my hole.
So today we're going to be rigging these outriggers with our double rigging kit. We offer these in single, double, and triple. We also offer black monofilament or white monofilament. All of our rigging kits come with everything but the crimpers. Comes with a monofilament, snap swivels, clips, ball stops, crimps, teaser rings, and our custom gem locks for each application.
Next, we're going to feed our mono through our guides. It helps to have someone hold the spool or put it on a rocket launcher, rod holder, just something to keep it organized so it doesn't tangle up. Go ahead and put it through the end guide. We get asked a lot what roller the mono needs to go on. In this case, you want to have it on the inside so that it doesn't overlap. To feed the mono through, like so. Next up, we're going to gauge where our gem locks needs to be, and also determine how much mono, so we want to cut it. We're going to raise the outrigger and put it in a fishing position.
So with each one of our rigging kits, we provide 100 yards of monofilament, which is more than enough to rig these 18-foot outriggers. So now that we got this thing in a fishing position, we'll pull a little extra through both sides, go ahead and cut it, and then we'll get into rigging.
So next up, we're going to determine where we want to fish our gem locks. Some people like to attach it to the pipework. Some people like to go to the cleat. We offer the Sea Sucker cam cleat, which kind of just gives you a little bit more availability on the position that you want to fish. In this case, we're going to be using this cleat. As you can tell, we only pulled out a couple feet of mono until you get your fishing position on the gem locks. You really can't determine how much you need to pull through quite yet. So we're going to go ahead, attach the gem locks to the cleat. We're going to see how we like that. It's a good position. So now we'll move on to the rigging.
So Hunter left a few feet extra on the bottom side of the halyard. I'm going to leave about a foot or 2 extra on the top side. That way you have plenty of room for adjusting this thing nice and snug when you get it ready to crimp. So we're going to go ahead and cut this about right here. That'll leave us plenty of line to make sure the adjustments are just right. All right, so the next step is to start attaching the rigging accessories like the release clips and whatnot. Again, we're doing our long rigger. We're going to start with a ball stop. Then we're going to slide on a crimp. Next would be a snap swivel. And on this top side, you can go ahead and crimp it. We'll leave the adjustments down for the bottom side. So we'll get this ready, we'll crimp it up. But we also want to attach the release clip as well, where the clip breaks down. So as you see here, this is ready to be crimped.
All right, next we're gonna rig the bottom of your gem locks and the long rigger. Gonna pull this, find the end of your mono, add the crimp, then we're gonna run this snap swivel, pull it around, put it back to your crimp. We're not gonna crimp these yet because we have to get the measurements and pull the line tight. Take that snap swivel if you want to add that, Brian.
Yep, so we're just going to attach it to the bottom of the release clip. And then what I'll do is I'll start trying to get this adjustment a little closer by pulling the line through. I'm not going to crimp it just yet. We want to wait until last thing to crimp this so that we make sure that the short and the long halyards are nice and tight. But we can go ahead and start getting it close now.
As you can see, like I said before, you want to get your gym locks in the fishing position. That's very important. This is where you will run them.
So now we're going to work on the short rigger. What we got to do is lower the outrigger back down, run the line through the halyards, and then do the same adjustments we just did on the long rigger. If you notice on these 18-foot riggers, they're only able to be double rigged, so you don't have much of an option as to where the line goes next. But for reference on the 18s, it's going to go on the most outboard guide. On a 22, it's going to have 3 rollers in some positions, in which case it would go through the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through, hand it to Hunter. We're going to pull some extra line through just like we did before so that we have some slack to make the final adjustments at the end.
All right, so next we're going to get your outrigger back in the fishing position. So now that we've ran our mono through the guides and the pole, we're now going to run it through the top side of the bow side gym locks. Like so. And then we can begin rigging your short.
All right, the first way we're going to show you is running a release clip on the short rigger, and a release clip only. It's the same thing we did on the long rigger. So you put a ball on, a crimp, snap swivel, and then we take our release clip. Again, make sure it's breaking down. Put it on, and then you tighten it up just the way we did the long rigger a few minutes ago. And that would be your release clip only option on the short rigger. So the first option obviously is pulling just a clip on your short rigger. This is for the people that want to pull 2 baits on each rigger. This will get that done for you. The next option is to put just a teaser ring on your short rigger. This is if you want to pull a squid chain or a flippy floppy or anything like that on your short rigger. All you do is take the teaser ring and put it on the snap swivel, and then you'll connect your bottom side the same way. I personally prefer to make a neater crimp here than having all this hardware, but it's each person's preference. So this is the third option. This is having a release clip and a teaser ring on the same short halyard. What you'll see here is your normal release clip situation, and then below it, I just took a couple pieces of scrap monofilament and made a little teaser ring clip here that goes on the bottom side of the halyard.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and grab the mono that's been ran through the bow side gym locks, and we're gonna wanna connect it to our teaser ring swivel. To do that, we're gonna put the crimp on. Then we're gonna run it through the swivel. One thing to keep in mind is we have not crimped any of these crimps yet besides the teaser. Reason being is we can decide how much tension we want after we get everything ran through. This setup is really for your guys who want to either run a short rigger or run a teaser, depending on the day. So now we're going to pull that through the crimp, just like that. And then we're going to decide how to get rid of all this slack.
So what I'll do is just pull the extra slack out of the top side of the crimp, slide everything down to where it's close to the final adjustment, and then once we get it exactly where we want it, we'll make those final adjustments and make the crimps. You want to make sure you get these tensions just right, otherwise you'll have, let's just say you have a bait on your long rigger and it's pulling the rigger a little bit, then you don't want your short rigger flapping in the wind. You want to have tension on both of them so that they're perfectly adjusted.
One thing to keep in mind as well, with me being in the boat, I want to be able to reach the release clips very easily to put my lines in. So when we did this stack, we made sure that it's still reachable from inside the boat to put my line in and run the line up.
One thing that you may not know is that we use a proprietary monofilament that doesn't expand and contract in the weather. So once you get this tension set, you should be good to go for at least a couple years. So I'm gonna go ahead and crimp the top sides of these. Make sure you don't have any tag ends exposed. That's a good place for line to get caught in a windy day. Once the top sides are crimped, we can make all our adjustments on the bottom side. And all I'm gonna do is just pull these things down snug, make sure we don't have any slack in any of the riggers. And then we'll make a flush cut, again, so we don't have any tag ends. take the crimp. And I'll go to my long rigger and do the same thing. Now you have your outriggers perfectly tensioned and you're ready to go fishing.
All right, so now that everything has been crimped, you want to just run each rigger up.
One of the things you'll notice when Hunter's running these lines up and down is how effortless it is to be able to raise and lower your halyards. That's due to the newly designed guides on these external poles. They got a bigger pulley and a better bearing system to make your efforts much less when putting the outriggers in and out. So guys, that's how you rig the outriggers. Obviously this specific video applies to our 18-foot externally rigged outriggers. Using our rigging kit, this is the quickest, most efficient way to rig your outriggers.
Brian, I get asked a lot, you know, what if I'm rigging a collapsible outrigger? And you know, I tell them it's the same way. You buy the same rigging kit, it's got the same products in it, and you're gonna do everything exactly like you see here. As you can see, these roller guides are kind of the same technology, except the difference with this pole is that it's collapsible. That's where we came into this, and we made a fixed one with the external rig, and it's really a game changer.
You know, one other thing, Hunter, is even if you have 22s or even our 27s, it's the same strategy, it's the same approach. You just have an extra halyard guide in there. So you use the same theory, same rigging kits and all to do the same thing.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're just trying to catch more fish, win tournaments.
That's right. So like I said before, there's a million different ways to rig outriggers. I'm going to show you a very simple way that's effective for people that like to sail fish and bill fish. This gets rid of a lot of the hardware that you saw us do on the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this bar out of the middle of the blacks clip. So now you're left with just the clip. Next thing I'm going to do is take my long rigger line, run it down through the clip, put on a crimp, and then run it through the bottom side of the clip. So we're going to leave this clip loose for now. We'll show you how to secure that in just a second. I'm going to use a small piece of heat shrink. This is not included in the rigging kit, but I like it because it gets rid of any rough edges or snag points for your line when you're fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and slide that on. Next we'll go on with a crimp. And then I've also cut the snap part of this swivel off, and I'm using just the swivel. We're going for a very low profile sailfish type setup here. So what we'll do is we'll get this all where we want it, give it a crimp, and then we'll come back with this heat shrink, slide it down over everything, and shrink it up, and you'll see how nice and clean that looks here in just a second. So now I'm going to secure this clip just a couple inches above the heat shrink. All you got to do is get a good grip on that thing, tighten it down, and now you can see the clip's locked into place. So on the bottom side, we're going to take a piece of heat shrink, slide it on. Then we're going to a crimp, and then to the bottom side of that swivel that we just attached. And again, we're going to leave everything loose and come back and tighten it up right here at the end. That'll do the job.
I think that's good.
So this is just another way to rig your release clips. It's a more simple approach than what we showed you before. This eliminates the ball stop and all the hardware that goes with the snap swivels. It does take a little bit longer, but what you'll see is just a crimp holding the clip into place with just a barrel swivel, which you can get out of the rigging kit. We just cut the snap off of it, and then we just put a little bit of heat shrink, so that way everything's nice and smooth and you're not going to get any lines caught up on your rig.
Brian, when would I use this style of rigging versus the other?
Yeah, so Hunter, this style of rigging is more popular among the billfish crowd, you know, where they're fishing 20 or 30 pound test on windy days. You want less places for that smaller line to get hung up, especially when you're circle foot fishing.
Yeah.
The other side over there with all the hardware works perfectly fine if you're pulling big lures or ballyhoo or something like that on a big rig. But when you're going to lighter tackle and trying to catch big billfish on these riggers, then this is the setup that we go to.
Awesome.
Hopefully today we answered a lot of questions you guys have about rigging your outriggers and how we like to do it. We showed you a couple different ways using our rigging kits to rig the outriggers, whether it be teaser rings, multiple clips, etc. We showed you a more streamlined way to do it, which is the way I prefer. All of these techniques are applicable with our collapsible outriggers and our new externally guided outriggers. So if you guys have any more questions, comments, just let us know. We're happy to take your phone call, answer any emails about it, and kind of walk you through the process.
Let's go fishing.